hummed to myself as I strolled back to my room, thinking how much I've grown accustomed to the mansion after staying here for almost 2 months already. I was surprised when Deon appeared out of nowhere and pulled me towards him, pressing his lips against mine. Hello. Startled, I reached my arms out and pushed him away. My cheeks burned.
What's with that reaction? It's not like this is the first time we kissed.
You were a bear then. Thank you. That's because you were a toy bear back then.
I was, but how is that different from now?
I tried so hard to face him, but whenever our eyes met, I just automatically looked away. It's just different, okay? I heard him chuckle and felt his face lean closer to mine. I instinctively stepped back, but he held my arm and stopped me.
Wow, you're blushing, love.
I'm not. Deon's smirk widened.
So I'm finally getting a reaction from you. Admit it already. You've fallen in love with me.
What? Deon smiled and began pulling me with him. My heart can't handle this. My heart can't handle this. Abort.
I'm a step closer then, which is a good thing. By the way, there's something I've wanted to do for you that I couldn't have as a bear.
My eyes widened, and I stopped dead, my cheeks burning hot. I hope he doesn't mean... I automatically hugged myself with my free arm. I could not get the other one free. Don't you dare come near me, you pervert! A light blush spread across Deon's cheek in realization. Yeah, you gotta be careful how you phrase things, man.
It's not what you're thinking. Can't you give me a little credit here?
You can't blame me for thinking that way.
I promise I won't do anything to you. Will that suffice?
I was still suspicious, but his puppy dog eyes were even stronger now that he was human. How's that even possible? Fine. He led me down the hall. I relaxed when I recognized where he was taking me. I was gonna play music. Oh no. My heart. Our secret hiding place. It felt like it's been a long time since I last went there. Thank heavens it wasn't his bedroom, or else I would have killed him, no matter how good looking the guy was. I braced myself for that familiar pain whenever I look at the piano, and I was surprised that the pain hurt less than before. Could it be because of Deon?
Make yourself comfortable, Laura. I did promise to play you a song when I turn back into a human. It's been a while, so I might be a bit rusty, but it's better than nothing, right?
He headed for the piano, adjusting the bench before sitting down. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath, expertly testing the keys with his hands. They had to give me that picture, didn't they?
Yes. Yes.
Ooh, a new song. So nice. His hands were soon gliding across the keyboard. He was engulfed in the song, his body moving back and forth to the tempo of the music. I wish I could play like this when I was rusty. From where I was seated, I had a full view of his back, and I hadn't noticed until now how big and strong it was. Good grief, with Sola was his jawline, and with Deon it's his big, strong back. Guys. It reminded me of my father. Okay, now we're just getting weird. He used to play the piano like this too, and I would sit and admire him from behind. Father. He's so far away now. Suddenly, the memories of the day he died came back to me. He was playing the piano in one of the restaurants he worked for, when the ceiling collapsed and fell on him. What? How does that even happen? He died before we even reached the hospital. Since then, seeing and hearing the piano scared me. I felt something wet trickle down my face. And it wasn't long before I was sobbing into my hand as I recalled the happy times I had spent with my beloved father. The music suddenly stopped. I looked up to find Deon watching me, his eyes filled with concern. Oh, Deon.
Is my playing really that horrible, Aura?
No, Deon. It's not you. I just remembered my father. He was by my side in an instant, wrapping his warm arms around my shoulders.
I'm sorry, Aura. It's my fault.
It's not your fault, Deon. I'm sorry I started crying. The song. It's really lovely. Can you play it for me again? I promise I won't cry this time. I wiped my tears away with the back of my hand and gave him a reassuring smile.
Are you sure, Aura?
I'll be fine. I smiled at him through my tears to convince him, but of course he didn't believe me. I had to practically shove him towards the piano before he reluctantly left my side. That didn't stop him from giving me another worried glance. I nodded at him to continue, and finally he turned back to the piano. As the music rang throughout the room, I closed my eyes. His worry for me. It was kind of cute. No, it was more than cute. In a way, he was a lot like my father. They both loved music and wanted to share it with everyone. And music should be shared and enjoyed, not used as a trigger for painful memories. Even now, as Deon continued to play his song, I felt warm and content inside. Why did I force myself to lock such a beautiful thing away? Music. Music makes me truly happy. Wait, are we gonna learn music? Are we gonna give up our dream of cooking like our mom and pursue music instead? That would make me so happy. It was strange how a few weeks ago, just the thought of piano and music brought back only painful memories. Without Deon, I wouldn't have been able to come to terms with myself and my past. If Deon wasn't here with me, I wouldn't know what to do. After playing a few more pieces, Deon led me back into the hallway. Deon?
Yes.
Have you talked with Sol yet? Deon stopped walking and became silent for a while.
Yes.
Really? How did it go?
I only made him angrier, and I kind of suffered a very long lecture from him. I deserved it, though.
Has he forgiven you?
I don't think so. He hasn't talked to me since then.
Gosh darn it, Sol. My heart ached for him. Sol too, but Deon took up more of my feelings for obvious reasons. He just needs more time.
I hope you're right.
I lagged behind and watched him from afar as he walked on alone. He had become such a vital part of my life without me realizing it that I could not imagine what my life would be like without him. Aw, that's so sweet. At that moment, I felt that I would be truly happy to stay with him forever. I surprised myself with that confession. I watched Deon's retreating back, and I realized then that I could no longer run away from my true feelings anymore. So did you smooch the boy? No! You just lagged further behind. Why didn't you smooch the boy? That was your moment. I never knew that acknowledging my feelings for Deon could be quite so difficult. But, actually on the upswing, we acknowledged it before Gold turned back to a human, so there's that. From then on, it was even harder to properly face him without blushing crimson. I bit my lower lip and glanced at Deon beside me. What do you think Sol will talk about? Deon and I were currently on our way to Sol's room. Earlier, he had asked us to go to there because he had something important to discuss with us. I hoped that this would be the day where they would set things right. Deon smirked.
Maybe he'll give us his blessings.
My heartbeat doubled in speed. Stop joking around, Deon. I'm being serious here. I gasped when he grabbed my arm and pulled me behind a window curtain.
I was serious too, love. Tell me, do I have a chance for your love?
Deon. I found myself getting lost in his gaze, and it took all my willpower to stop myself from looking away. I took a deep breath. Deon, thank you for bringing music back into my life. Thank you for everything. If you hadn't been here for me, I wouldn't have known what to do after getting lost in the forest. It's because of you that I'm happy. Deon's eyes stretched wide. They were filled with hope and joy.
Are you saying that you love me?
Maybe.
Say it then.
Huh? What I just said was already embarrassing enough.
Please.
He drew his face closer, and I had to hold my breath.
I want to hear you say it, Aura.
I'm in love with you, stupid. Ah! Yes! Woohoo! Woohoo! This is all I ever needed. Ah! That was all the invitation he needed before he pulled me against him and crashed his lips against mine almost desperately. I willingly gave in to his impulses this time, closing my eyes as I did so. I parted my lips, feeling his tongue brush against my own, causing my heart to race 100 times faster than normal. My goodness. He nibbled gently on my lower lip, and I couldn't stop a moan from escaping my mouth. I ran a hand through his silky hair and, feeling bold, pulled him even closer towards me. I never wanted to let him go. To my surprise and disappointment, it was Deon who broke off first. We do have to meet somebody. You should have done this last night, because you weren't expected anywhere. Darn it. He was panting as he spoke, and his face was flushed red.
We should probably go find Soul. He'll be wondering what happened to us.
Oh. I must have looked disappointed because Deon leaned closer, his lips brushing mine again as he spoke.
We can finish this later if you're that eager to continue.
My cheeks burned at his comment, and in my embarrassment, I pushed him away from me, and he tumbled into the window's curtains. You're right. We should go before someone finds us here. Deon nodded in agreement, tripping as he untangled himself from the curtains. You two are nothing but trouble together. Okay, compose yourselves now. We both arrived in Soul's workroom, where we found him looking at some papers on his desk. Soul raised an eyebrow at our identical disheveled appearances. And that's when I realized that we hadn't gotten the chance to fix our hair or clothes. Whoops. My face burned. Soul's face burned. We should have just done it, I guess, because it couldn't be any worse than this. I won't ask.
That's wonderful. If you won't ask, then I will. Why'd you call us here, dear brother?
We were both surprised when Soul suddenly bent down in apology. I'm sorry if I ever doubted you, brother. I'm sorry for getting angry at you.
Soul.
I've always looked up to you since we were young. You've always been my hero, and that's why it hurt so much when you abandoned me with the responsibilities of being the heir. But back then, I didn't know your sacrifices for us. Deon walked to Soul's side and draped his arms on his shoulder. But brother...
You also made a big sacrifice for gold, and I too. So I'm also sorry for not being there as your older brother. Someone recently told me that we should never lose hope.
Deon smiled at me.
We should all start over again, and this time we'll live as a family, just like we used to be.
Soul smiled, and for the first time, I saw that it was a real one. Hooray! I'd like that. My chest warmed and I gasped as the locket floated in the air surrounded by a golden light. I couldn't take my eyes off it, watching the rust slowly melt away, leaving behind a beautiful golden locket. With a click, it opened, revealing an old picture of a beautiful little girl. Gold! A blinding white light swallowed the room. Whoa.
Aura? Aura!
I blinked a few times and found myself cradled in Deon's arms. Sol was there as well, looking at me with concern in his eyes. Are you all right, my lady? Yes. What just happened? I craned my neck towards the door when I heard loud footsteps approaching. The door opened and there Royal and Lily stood panting.
What's with you two?
Lily began crying, but it wasn't because of sadness. I know because she laughed as she cried. Lady Gold!
She's back. The curse has been broken.
A hint of a smile played on Royal's lips. Now get that girl, man! Give her a smooch, please. We all rushed to Gold's room where we found her wrapped in an embrace by Miss Maria. She looked at us, her sky blue eyes shimmering as tears of joy rolled down her cheeks. I'm back. Gold.
Took you a while, though.
Gold smiled and ran towards her brothers. I wiped my own tears away as I watched the three of them finally reunited. Gold laughed, sandwiched in a hug between her two older brothers, their smiles finally genuine. The Deluxe curse was no more. Now, they could finally live the normal life they deserved. Yay! But then what happened? This was a very special day for everyone, and so I decided to cook them something special. We really owe you a lot, Miss Aura, for setting us free. Please, you give me too much credit, Lily. But you deserve all of it, Miss Aura. I was surprised when Gold entered the room smiling beautifully at us. She really looked like an angel. Now I finally understood why Royal liked her so much. I wasn't able to personally thank you yet, so... She curtsied. Aw, what a beautiful curtsy. Thank you. For everything. I'm just glad that things are back to normal. Now, all of you can live happily. So, what will you do now, Miss Aura? The curse is gone, and now you're free to leave the mansion. She was right. I'd been so caught up with trying to break the curse that I'd forgotten the real reason I'd crossed paths with the mansion. I promised Mother that I would become a great chef. Sadness washed over Lily's face. I know that you always wanted to leave so you could fulfill your dreams, but you've already become a part of our family, Miss Aura, and I don't want you to leave us. Gold pouted next to Lily, her expression beyond the definition of cute. And what about my brother? Eh? Deon. My brother loves you so much, Miss Aura. When he visited me in my room back then, he always told me how amazing you are and how much he loves you. I felt my face burn. He said that?
What are you ladies talking about?
Oh, so close. I jumped when a pair of arms suddenly wound their way around my waist. I spun around and my heart sped up when I saw Deon. Deon! Don't scare me like that! Deon snuggled against the curve of my neck and I felt his warm breath caressing my skin. My legs trembled and I was glad that he was there to keep me standing, even though he was the cause of my problems.
Sorry.
I heard someone cough, and I remembered with a jolt that we were not the only ones in the room. Ahem! Oh, God! I wish the ground could swallow me whole this instant. Quickly, I pushed Deon away and covered my face. Ah, I'm so jealous.
Mother! Control yourself, will you? You're embarrassing Miss Aura.
Deon raised his hands in surrender.
My apologies. I just couldn't help it.
What are you doing here anyway?
Just wondering what you're making for us.
I had to admit that I hadn't actually figured out what to cook yet, as I was so excited to be in the kitchen. It's a surprise.
I'll eat whatever you put onto my plate. Everything you've made has been delicious. At this rate, I won't be able to fit through the door.
Ooh, I'm sure you'd be so cute.
Gold clapped her hands in delight.
I'm afraid I'm cuter as a bear, although I prefer being human.
If it's alright with you, can I borrow Miss Aura for a while?
Of course. Just don't take most of her time from me, or I'll be very jealous.
Deon stared meaningfully at me as he spoke, and suffering another blush, I slapped his arm. Lily's mouth dropped open with amazement.
Is this what being in a relationship is like? Oh my god.
The scene would have been quite comical if I wasn't so embarrassed under Deon's gaze.
Lily? Of course, my lady. Leave the cooking to me.
But I...
No worries, Miss Aura. You've been cooking for us since you got here. You need to take a rest every once in a while.
I smiled at her. I was eager to cook, but I didn't want to refuse Gold's invitation. Okay. Thanks, Lily. Man, this is going on for a while. This is great. I love it. I let out a sigh as I stared at the flowers in the garden. I sat here, waiting for Gold to come back. She said that she needed to get something.
Miss Aura!
I turned to the sound of her angelic voice. She was holding out a rose, smiling gratefully at me.
This is for you, Miss Aura.
Thank you. You didn't have to.
This is my thanks for you. I hope you'll like it.
But you've already thanked me, right? You don't have to keep thanking me.
This isn't because you broke the spell. It's my way of thanking you for what you've done for my brother, Deon. I'm happy that he has finally found someone he can dedicate his life to, especially after he's wasted so much of his life taking care of us. After our mother passed away, he would bring me to the music room and play the piano for me every night. He said that Mother would have loved it if I heard him play. I barely remember what happened since I was only 2 at the time, but I do remember thinking how pretty the music was.
I thought back to everything Deon had told me about his past. Gold didn't know anything about his sacrifices for them, so she still thought of him as her perfect older brother who loved them so much. I smiled to myself. It was better that Gold didn't know about his past, so she could stay the way she is now.
I know that this is a selfish request, but please don't leave us.
I smiled and held her hand. I've already decided that I could not leave this place anymore, especially now that I found a family once again. I won't.
Really?
I nodded. It's true that all I ever wanted was to fulfill my dream to become a great chef. But then, I recently realized that there was something I wanted more than that, and that is to be part of a family.
You're definitely a part of our family now. You are our future sister-in-law, after all.
Eh? Gold chuckled once again.
I know you'll make my brother happy, Miss Aura.
Since the curse was broken, Deon decided that it was better not to lock the music room anymore. Hooray! I'm kind of still mulling over it's better that Gold doesn't know. I think maybe she should find out, though. Maybe in the best ending she will. She wouldn't love him any less. So every once in a while, we all gather there to listen to him play beautiful music on the piano. The pain of the past was no longer there, replaced by all the wonderful memories I had with my family, as well as the new memories I gained from my stay here. Deon and I were the only ones in the room right now, and I silently sat beside him while he played a new song. A song he wrote just for me. He stopped when we heard a knock on the door. Excuse me.
Sol, what brings you here?
Sol's gaze shifted to mine, then back to Deon. He seemed nervous. Sol coughed at his hands and straightened himself. Brother, I have something to tell you. Deon looked at him, his face hardened as if realizing what Sol was about to say. I think it is time for you to take back what is rightfully yours. My breath caught in my throat as my mind processed his words. I felt Deon stiffen in front of me.
You want me to be heir again?
Deon spoke flatly, clearly displeased with Sol's words. Yes.
Everyone knows you're the heir now, Sol. The title is yours, not mine. I can't take it back anymore.
But the title was originally yours. You're the true heir, and you still are, brother. I only became one in order to keep Father's pride. Everyone in the kingdom already knew about his wickedness, thus the reason why we were cursed in the first place. I want the people to know that you're not who Father claimed you to be. You're a good person, brother. I want them to see that. Deon was silent, only adding to the tension inside the room. Deon took a deep breath as he contemplated Sol's request. I stood behind him, wondering if I should do something to help. My goodness, this is like his decision. I would be like, let him decide how he wants to do this. So I'm guessing that's probably the best thing to do. So I'm gonna decide that now's the time to whisper in his ear.
I believe in you, Deon. Just do what you think is right.
He gave me a single, subtle nod to show that he had heard me before taking a deep breath and turning to face Sol. Finally, after what seemed like a lifetime passed, he gave Sol his answer.
Very well, brother.
Sol looked so relieved and happy. I can finally make dresses again! Yeah, baby! Being heir was a burden he had to carry for far too long, especially when it had been suddenly forced onto him like that. I'm sure that the family will flourish under your care.
Just don't blame me if things go wrong.
Deon spoke seriously, but there was humor in his voice. Don't worry, brother. I'll be here to back you up. This time, you won't be alone because we're all here for you. We are family. After talking to Sol, we headed back to Deon's room, but the way he was frowning as he walked really worried me. Deon, is something troubling you?
You know me too well, love.
Do I? Deon leaned closer and placed a kiss on my forehead.
You do. It's just that... Was that really the right decision, Aura? I don't think I'll be able to take care of the family. What will the people think of me? I failed everyone once before. I
placed a finger on his lips. You just have to do your best for the sake of the family's name, Deon. Your father isn't here to criticize you anymore. I know that you will do what is right. Deon smiled at me, his love vibrant on his lips.
That's why I'm glad you're by my side, Aura. I feel lucky I was able to meet someone as amazing as you. Remember when you told me to do what I think is right? I've always had others telling me what to do. So when you told me to decide for myself, I felt lost. I just don't know what's the right thing anymore.
I immediately felt guilty, afraid I was acting just like his father and manipulating him to follow my ideals. That's why you gotta silently support sometimes. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said anything.
You don't need to apologize, Aura. You'll just have to trust me more from now on.
I will. Whoops. I whoopsed a little bit there. I let out a sigh of frustration. I haven't seen Deon in days. He was always busy, locking himself inside his room and doing nothing but paperwork. He even skipped dinner. I paced outside his room, debating whether I should knock when the door clacked open. Deon's head poked through the gap.
Are you going to come in?
At my startled look, he smiled. It was a tired one, though.
I could hear you walking out here. It's very distracting.
He actually had the nerve to waggle his eyebrows at me as he spoke. What's that supposed to mean? Rather than answer, he glanced at the tray in my hands, eyes bright.
Is that for me? It smells delicious, love.
Yeah. On second thought, no. I pouted, wanting to pay him back for his teasing.
Aw, really? So you spent all that time making it just to throw it away?
Yes, I mean, no. Oh, fine, take it. Giving in, I always lose to him. I shoved the tray into his hand. Deon beamed at me, gratefully accepting the meal. Still grinning, Deon invited me into the room. He returned to his desk to eat while I settled onto the edge of his bed. The rest of the house was silent as he ate, lost in the world of dreams. Only Deon and I were still wide awake. My eyes softened while I gazed at him. The way he ate made it seem like the food was the best thing he'd ever tasted. You shouldn't be up so late, you know.
I know, but I can't help it. It's important for everyone here that the public start respecting the Deluxe family again.
He set his fork down, suddenly forlorn.
I'm sorry I've troubled you so much, love.
I shook my head, returning Deon's earlier smile. Don't worry about me, Deon. You should worry more about yourself.
I want to repay you for everything you've done after all this is over. But I still need a little more time. Would you mind waiting for me until then?
Of course I don't mind, silly. I'll wait forever if I have to. Deon stood up and walked over to where I was sitting. Without hesitating, he leaned close and planted a soft kiss on my lips.
I promise I won't make you wait that long.
You better not. His mouth slid into a frown as he pulled away.
I should probably get back to work.
Feeling bold and a bit lonely, I asked something I normally wouldn't have had the courage to ask. Oh my. Deon, would you mind if I stay here tonight? Though he stared at me for a moment, Deon responded with a mischievous smile.
Ah, my love is actually making the first move.
I slapped his arm and he laughed.
If you don't mind me working while you sleep.
As long as I have you by my side, then I won't mind at all. He leaned in and kissed me once again. I blushed furiously. I could taste his late-night snack on my lips as he pulled away. Darn, I shouldn't have cooked with the garlic. Deon turned and sauntered back to his desk while I shifted to the middle of the bed, folding my legs under me. I smiled as I watched him work diligently on his unending paperwork. He really had changed from the person he had been when I first met him. It made me happy, knowing that Deon will be able to take care of his family no matter what the future held. And I would be happy staying by his side, trusting him to keep his promise to me. There was not a wait long enough that could erase my happiness. Knowing that Deon was there to protect me, I let out a final yawn and fell asleep, listening to the furious scribbling of his pen and the constant flipping of his papers. Those sounds were a soothing melody as I drifted into a dream where I finally got my forever after. Normal end. Busy Deon is busy. Aw, man. We gotta get a happier ending for our boy than that. He can't just be doing paperwork forever. That's no good. But that was so cute. I do love Deon. Aw, he grabbed my heart. Oh my goodness. this. That was just a normal ending. I can't wait for the best ending. Oh my goodness, so cute. Okay, well, that's it for now, though, guys. Thanks for watching. Next time, we will try to get this best ending, so I hope you'll join me for that. Until then, I will see you later.